Let's go through the mods that I like to use and why. The first one here, and I wish that you could see the preview window, but unfortunately it's not capturing. Can I capture both actually? Let me see. Let me see if I can capture this one too. I'd have to add another window capture. Called Aslane browser. And there it is. Okay. So I can do that. And let's put that over here on the side like that. That works. And then where's my other one? Here. Move that over to the side just a little bit. Maybe shrink it down a tad too. All right. So anyways, I like to use a contour icon. I find that that comes in very handy. So when you look at that, you can see there a ship's got hydro, 5-kilometer range on that hydro. They've got radar, 9-kilometer range on the radar, and 5 on the hydro, etc., etc. I find that that comes in very handy. Can you guys see the colors on your screen? I'm wondering if my my thing is all kind of messed
Yeah,
up a
we can
little
see
bit.
it.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
the green hydro thing and
Yeah,
radar thing, you mean? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I think my monitor's crushing the colors, but whatever. So obviously that's helpful because it helps you understand what ships have what consumables that might totally screw you over. For a newer to middle player, this is handy. Even for somebody like me, um, there's a lot of people that look at mods and say, "Oh, mods are dumb. I'm gonna play the game in the way it's meant to be played," and blah 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 blah. Look, mods make it easier for you to do what you need to do without thinking as much. So think about it that way. Don't consider yourself a hardcore player because you're playing without mods, okay? If you really want to be a hardcore player, just saying, hit Control J at the start of your battle and play without a HUD. All right, moving on. Next, I like to use is BADoBEST's contour icons for the side panel. Now, this comes in very handy because what it does is it displays on either side of the window the ship health, okay? And you can see quickly what's going on with your team. If your team's very low, you can maybe try to figure out where are they on the minimap and stuff like that. It does come in very handy. I have it set so that ships that die just disappear, so that over time the screen gets less cluttered. If you don't like having a cluttered screen, then don't use it or adjust the scale and stuff like that. But that comes in handy. Team health bars at the top just give me a visual representation of how screwed my team is or how well they're doing, depending on the situation. Consumables Monitor. This is very handy. When you have a teammate and you're wondering, do they have radar? Is it a radar Minotaur? Is it a smoke Minotaur? I can hold the Alt key and I can see what they're running. It also comes in handy for me to get an idea of, like, if they are using a consumable, say hydro, how much longer that hydro is available for. So it comes in very, very handy. Numerical battery remaining on submarines is just it's very easy way to just tell how much dive time they have left in a number. Okay, I don't know what the default is, but I like seeing the number. I like seeing, okay, they've got 30 seconds left or, 3 minutes left. Numerical capture time on objectives is very handy too. It just helps me time my exit from a cap, or if I see a cap is being capped by an enemy, I know how much time I have to get into a cap, or at least try to get the resets. Same thing with travel time for a capture point. I can get an idea of how long it'll take me to get there. Regen Monitor is one that I used to use a lot. I don't use it as much anymore. This is helpful for telling you basically how much hit points a teammate can put back up. For one, I'm colorblind, so I have a difficult time making out the two different bars. But two, I often find myself getting frustrated because I'll be like, yo, hey, Makarov, you might want to use your heal because I can use Consumables Monitor and see that he's got a heal available, and then he doesn't use the heal and dies. So, use at your own risk. For casting tournaments is very handy. Spotted indicator, also very handy. Tells me if my teammates are detected. And then I get an idea, okay, if it's a Shimakaze and it's detected, is it being radared or You know, what can possibly be stealthier than a Shimakaze, right? So, you know, it helps me look at my team a little bit better, gives me that extra bit of information. I'm not so dependent on them saying, I'm detected, or watching them get shot at. Depth charge markers are just easy to see where they are. Torpedo marker, this is the one we were talking about, the advanced torpedo marker. If you can see it, it's kind of hard for you guys to see, but basically it changes an icon based off of if it's homing, and then if there's an M, that means that it's homing with two, you know, two pings on whichever part of the ship, which means you're going to take, you know, hella damage if you get hit by those torps. So it gives you an idea of just how screwed you're about to be, and maybe helps you determine whether or not you should be using your DCP. And then I like to use ship movement indicators. There's a lot of people that don't like this mod, because what this mod does is it tells you if the ship is moving backwards, sitting still, or moving forwards. Now, you could use smoke to make that determination, forward or backward. The problem with doing that is it takes a little bit longer for you to recognize that that's happening. So I like having this as just a very quick and easy way to tell what an enemy is doing. Again, because I'm colorblind, these three are very easy for me to determine. The default one, you can see there is kind of hard-ish to tell at a glance, red, green, yellow. You've got all these other colors here that you can use. And there used to be icons too, like forward, backward even. Some people like to use crosshair mods. I don't, but you can. Binocular frame remover is just nice because if you zoom in, the parts on the side of the screen are missing. So, you know, that's important. And Philip, you're absolutely correct. Seeing if that aircraft carrier is being a floating airfield, or if he or she is actually moving, is very handy, especially if you're in a battleship looking to snipe them. Blur effects remover. This just helps when you're, you know, manning a squadron and you hit the propeller boost or whatever. It just makes it a little bit less jarring for you, especially if you get a little motion sick and stuff like that. Battle camera. This is huge because what it does. Actually, this doesn't matter so much anymore. Never mind. This was back when before Wargaming changed the camera view. If you put your spotter plane up, you know how you were always locked into that higher up view? What this mod did was it allowed you to tick one back on your zoom wheel, and when it would do that, it would go back to standard angle. Now Wargaming has modded the game finally that you hit the C key and you can toggle between that mode automatically. So this is probably no longer necessary.
18 ships, 2 teams, 1 victor.
Oh god.
It's time to play Islands of...
Oh, that's weird. I thought I had blurb disabled too. Oh well. Anyway, moving right along. Torpedo warning. This to me is just helpful because it gives me a better chance of seeing like where the torps are coming from. The standard is just so small. I found myself like not noticing them as much. Also, again with my color blindedness, the red on a deep blue sea sometimes is very hard to see. So having the enlarged torpedoes makes it easier to note. I used to use this one, but I felt a little bit too obnoxious for me. But you can play around with different ones that you want. This is the main one that I always recommend people use. This is the one that tells me if an enemy could potentially have radar, and I'm within range of that potential radar. This one is very handy. It also, if I'm a carrier player, it lets me know if I'm getting within range of the anti-air of any of the ships that I'm coming by, which is also something that, hey, you can try to keep that straight in your mind, but when you're flying around and stuff like that, just having that information there, it just saves you so much time. So I like having that mini map by Battleframe. You can also do auto spy, and there's a whole lot of different configurations that you could put into it. Either one of these is good, but I find Battleframe is just cleaner and quicker and easier to set up. Note, by the way, for using ModStation, these mods are probably in ModStation, but they might be named slightly different. Advanced Attention Marker. This is dirty. If you have a, if you've got a division mate with you, if you've got a division mate with you, it's very handy because you can, or even yourself, if you click where the last known location was on the mini map, it'll show you that marker on the map, and then you can zoom in and shoot at that marker. You know, it just makes it easier for you to shoot at targets. 2D radio positioning. I usually have that on. I'm surprised I didn't. But this one gives you an idea of which direction. Yeah, it gives you an idea of you know where your opponent is. I think I have that on with something else. Automatically unchecked. Yeah, if it's by minimap by Battleframe. See, it's already in Battleframe, so I don't need that one. Crew and training room, it just helps me out if I'm doing a lot of training battles to be able to swap crew without having to go all the way back to port and back in again, because that's annoying as heck. Commander perks version 2 just gives me an idea. It helps me to see what my commanders are using. That's all. This is just pretty. You could do dock appearance mods. I always have the black hole, though. Black hole is my default. This is huge if you want to save your graphics card, because it minimizes the assets that are rendered in port. The port in World of Warships is notoriously bad taxing on your video card. So having black hole saves you a lot of that taxation. Also, it helps you look at the detail of your ship. Moving right along, on-screen battle display, I go to shells and tracers by Veto. Again, colorblind, so it's very easy for me to see HE shells, AP shells, and SAP shells. I can determine that quickly from what I'm seeing. The default is like, what, red and yellow or something? Come on. I can't tell if they're AP or HE coming after me until I get hit, and then, you know, that hurts. So this comes in handy. Unfortunately, when I'm casting King of the Sea or something else, some people might say, well, it looks like you're watching Star Wars. I don't think that's a bad thing personally, but you know, it's up to you guys. Airburst transparency I find very helpful because it just makes it easier to see through flak. If you've ever gone in for a run on a target and then a whole bunch of flak comes in and you're completely disoriented and you don't know where your ship is that you're trying to target, that's what this does. All right, it makes it more transparent so you can see the ships easier. Let's see, what else? Battle Expert version 2 is centered is the one that I'm running, and that allows me to see the relative armor scheme of who I'm looking at. Just snoozing ads so you guys don't get screwed on that. And it gives me an idea to say, okay, if I'm using AP, like in this situation, probably not a good idea to use AP, right? But as the target turns, the colors change from green to yellow to, I don't know, red or something like that. But it gives me an idea of when is a good time to use my AP on them. Let's see. And then I have also set don't hide the original compass just so I have something to look at. I don't know. Advanced battle loading screen is handy because it gives you just some extra information as the game starts up. For example, like you can see what ranks players are and stuff like that. You can have clan icons. It's kind of fun. Battle Expert is called Assistant in Mod Station. Thank you, Driftin. This is just a quick, you know, it just gets rid of some things that you don't need to see. 3D radio position finding is very handy. It puts it on the... It puts the cone out there on the water so you get a general idea of where they are. I used that the last game, previous game, to torpedo the Jutland. No, I didn't. I just saw him and never mind. But I can use that to torp things that I have radiolocation on. Secondary armament status. Now, this one I love. It tells me how far my secondaries reach. More importantly, especially for playing destroyers, it tells me at a glance how far my anti-air reaches. So last game, I was playing a French destroyer. I have 3.5 kilometer detect by air, and my anti-air reaches 3.5 kilometer. There's no reason to turn off my anti-air. If I'm playing an American destroyer that reaches 5.8 kilometer or whatever, it reminds me, oh, I should turn my anti-air off in presence of carriers because that'll get me spotted. Okay, so I find this mod very handy just at a glance, I can see what's going on. Regen Assistant. This is the one I was trying to talk about earlier. It tells me when I'm at maximum heal potential. There's a trap, though, and that is a lot of players, myself included, wait until they get to that maximum before they heal. And when you're in the midst of a firefight or something, getting that heal going early so that another heal is up sooner is much more important than waiting until you've got maximum potential heal. So it's a bit of a trap there. Build Viewer, this is the one that everybody loves seeing me use when I'm looking at tournaments and stuff like that. It's handy for tournaments and spectating in training room. Beyond that, it's not that helpful because you can't see other players' builds in your actual game. You can only see it if you're spectating. And you can see it on yourself. Commander Skills and Progress in Battle. This one is really nice because what you can do is you can hold your cursor over your captain. Just hold Control, mouse over your captain, and you can see the skills that your captain brings. Very handy if you're like, wait a minute, do I have AFG? I can't remember. Or my lighthouse build or my concealment build, etc., etc. 3D radar allows you to get an idea on the map not the map, but the actual battle, where radar circles go through. So comes in very handy if your teammate is radaring. Is that radar reaching the smoke? It comes in handy if you are if you're spectating, you can see all the circles. So I use that, of course, for tournaments. Score timer is very nice. It tells you at a glance, do we need to do something to make us win? Or are we okay if everybody just lives? That's a huge one, especially in ranked and smaller battles and tournaments. Shot timer is great because those 20 seconds, I'll tell you, when you're being shot at and everything, those 20 seconds can be forever. So it's very nice to have that numerical, okay, I've got however much, time left until whatever. So I like using shot timer as a way to remind me I'm going to be detected for however long after I shoot my guns. Radar timer is just so helpful. If I'm being radared, I know for how much longer I have to wait. I'm not sure if consumables and all that impact whatever the opponent that's radaring you is carrying, but at the very least, it gives you a number that you can play around and makes you feel a little bit better about the situation, and not like you're completely screwed forever. Easily readable team score. This is just for me, it helps to, it just replaces the dark with light text, so it's just easier to read. There's a whole lot of sound mods that you can run if you want. I know like Sea Raptor loves using the Duke Nukem voice mod, for example.
This thing sucks.
So you can do that if you want for a while.
I see dead people.
What was it? I used to run the Ace
AWACS
Combat.
Here, call sign Sky Eye. AWACS here, call sign Sky Eye.
Just because it was
Do you
fun.
read? Your call sign is...
Okay, enough of that. So there's a whole bunch of different ones that you can pick there if you want to. And then there's, of course, appearance mods that you can run. That's up to you. I don't run them because it just adds extra textures. The game has to load and blah, blah, blah. Moving right along. Submarines with Shark Tooth. It just looks cool. And what else? Map environment mods, maps only. I don't remember what this does. I don't remember what it does. So I don't even know why I have it selected. Because I think I had fog remover on maps only originally, yeah. I had fog remover going, and then I got rid of it because it screws up straight, that map. Enable replays recording, and I have it set to remove the limit of max replays. I mean, this is Zath's Replay Theater, so I'm all about replays, but I don't know how frustrating it can be. I'm sure it used to be very frustrating for me, even having an awesome game and then like a couple weeks later wanting to go back and, rewatch it or stream it or something, and no, I can't. FPS limiter in battle, the default is 75. If you want to limit it to 60, you can. If I used to have it at 120. If you've got a 144 megahertz monitor, you can limit it to 144. Mine is a 144 megahertz monitor, but I stream at 60 FPS, so I'm wasting. I'm like working the video card more than it needs to be, so I just have it at 75. The port, though, is important. I want to put that up there. The port at 30 saves your graphics card so much work. So if you don't want to run the black hole mod, but you want to save a workload on your graphics card, boom, do the 30 FPS limiter. Oh my God, it's night and day. If you're not sure about it, download a temperature monitoring program like Hardware Monitor. Look at the graphics card while you're in port, exit out of the game, load as lanes, put in 30 FPS for port, and check it again. You'll see you're saving yourself like 10 degrees Celsius. It's ridiculous how much setting a cap on your frame rate there has an impact in the game. For the longest time, we were telling wargaming developers, me and others, especially in the Discord and CC Discord, hey guys, you got to do something about the port. And they finally, I think they added an ability to edit that XML file somewhere for that. But in any case, guys, that's all the mods that I use. Thanks for watching. Any other comments or things you want to add to it, please put down there. But hopefully I've demonstrated how mods can really change your experience in this game. There's a couple mods that I don't use, by the way. One of the mods that I don't use is Matchmaking Monitor. I don't like using it because, frankly, all it does is piss me off and puts me on a negative footing with my team already. For those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, let me find the window because I have to cut it down and drag it up a bit. There it is, right there. Okay, so this gives you a little visualization of every person in the game and what their random battle stats are. And it as soon as I look at it, I immediately am pissed with my team. I'm pissed with maybe I'm upset because there's a whole bunch of unicums on the enemy team or something like that. And frankly, it's just toxic. Originally, I used it as a way to figure out like you know what I can, who I can try to help out and work with and stuff like that. But honestly, it just made things too toxic for me, so I got rid of it. Exactly right, Drifton. It encourages defeatism, so yeah. Chaser XVM chased you away from World of Tanks. Well, it just, yeah, because you're looking at it, you're like, this is you know, my team sucks. Why am I even here? Blah 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 blah, and then it's all downhill from there. So I don't care. The other thing is, at this day and age, most players, when you get into a game, are going to be 49% win rate or lower. Just accept it and move on and adapt your playstyle accordingly. That's topic for a whole nother situation and discussion. But in any case, thank you for watching, tuning in. When you guys see this later on YouTube, if there's any mods you have questions about, please, by all means, ask in the comments section when this goes out on YouTube. I'd be very happy and honored to answer those questions that you have, explain why I do or don't use certain mods, et cetera, et cetera.